out of 3 people are unhappy in their jobs, and 15% of people actually hate their jobs. Now that's a whole lot of negativity if you ask me. How does this happen, and what choices can we make to ensure that we're happier and more aligned in our roles? I'm Leannah Lumauig, and I'm a life and career coach. I help people navigate through big changes in their personal and professional lives. In this video, I want to talk about a specific change, career transition. What keeps us stuck in our roles? And what steps can we take if we're considering making a professional leap of our own? I'll also share my story on how I left a 10-year career in tech for a life in the tropics. Why are there so many people who are unsatisfied in their roles today? It all comes down to choice. So ask any kid what they want to be when they grow up, and you'll probably get answers like astronaut or singer or I want to be a veterinarian. At this age, our choices are endless, and we can be anything that we want to be. Fast forward to our college years, how many of us are really choosing astrophysics or music or zoology as our majors? I picked business, something that didn't involve a lot of risk. It was flexible, it was safe. Now, had I been given a little bit more time to explore what my passions and my purpose was, I might have chosen something else. It wasn't a bad option, as I ended up in some pretty good jobs in Silicon Valley. Each one started out with so much optimism, but would always end up with me feeling stagnant or disconnected and feeling out of place. Marianne Williamson talks about purpose as being like a GPS. We're going down the road, and if we're supposed to make a turn and we don't end up making it, our GPS will recalibrate and the universe will nudge us in the right direction. I kind of felt like I was supposed to turn multiple times in my career, but I was too scared. It was risky and it was too late anyway. I was already invested in tech. I kept my choices limited and kept trucking forward, job after job, and it led me down this negative spiral where I would wake up in the morning and instantly be filled with dread. Or I would show up to work with knots in my stomach because deep down inside I knew I should have been doing something else. I became the 15% who hated my job. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty desperate and ready to create a new reality for myself. I finally mustered up the courage to step outside of my comfort zone and do something different this time. And these next few steps that I'm about to cover are the ones that I took to help me transition into a career and life that I absolutely love. Step 1, taper down. So I'm sure you heard this a million times. Find your purpose. And it's such a simple concept, but it isn't easy. If it were easy, more of us would love what we do. There are a number of things that you could be doing besides your current job. So how do we narrow that down? Through the process of elimination. The trick is knowing what kind of shit sandwich you want to eat. Yes, you heard that right. Shit sandwich. And I know it sounds gross, but Mark Manson, who actually coined that term, has a point. Imagine you want to become a pastry chef because you absolutely love to bake. And after a bit of research, you discover that you have to wake up at 3 a.m. And if your initial reaction is, hell no, who would actually do something like that? Then maybe you need to explore some different options and cross this one off your list. I went through a slew of possible career options before I found coaching. I realized that I could enjoy all parts of the sandwich, the good, the bad, the ugly. Who's hungry? Step 2 is don't do it alone. So Abraham Lincoln knew how important it was to have a team of people backing him up throughout the turbulent Civil War. He knew it was so important that he pushed his ego aside and he hired a bunch of rivals to represent his cabinet. Now, changing your careers isn't exactly a war, but it's still a pretty big undertaking. When you're considering making the change, lean on your tribe for advice or honest feedback, brainstorming or idea building. I know that some of my best work comes from ideas that are vetted through the people that are in my tribe. I know that I can lean on them for support to help me steer my career and my life for that matter in the right direction. Also, interview people who are in roles that you're interested in. Shadow them, find out what they love about the role. Get an idea of what it's like to be in it. Hire a coach. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a coach. because hiring a coach was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. I had a partner to hold me accountable, to help me strategize, and also give me some unbiased feedback through one of the most pivotal times in my life. Step 3 is visualize. Before every race, Michael Phelps visualizes what it would be like to win. He imagines every second, every stroke, every breath he needs to take. He imagines what it feels like, what it tastes like, what it looks like. All of these little details will help him prepare for the ideal outcome. And he does this because he knows it works, and he has 23 gold medals to prove it. It's also backed by science. So using mental imagery or visualizing a particular outcome, whether it's mental or physical, fires up the same neural pathways in your brain as if it's actually happening. It works so well that I created a workshop around it. Here's an example of how you can use it with your career transition. Imagine yourself on an ideal workday. Pretend you're there, you're already living your dream career. Where are you? What do you see when you wake up in the morning? What do you have for breakfast? Do you commute to work, or are you working from home? What are some of the things that you work on? And at the end of the day, how do you feel when you go to bed at night? When I pictured my ideal career scenario for the first time, I imagined myself location independent on a warm, exotic island somewhere. I imagined myself coaching every morning and working on workshops and teaching and writing. And I never felt so alive. So when you're imagining your ideal career scenario, make sure to include the details and how it looks, how it feels, how it tastes and smells, and read it to yourself every day. So make it real and create a timeline. What year or what month or what specific date will you be making this happen? When will you be leaving your day job? Also, what's something that you can do now to accelerate your path into this new career that you're interested in? And start. Take courses to acquire the skills that you need. Do the job or start the business on the side. If you're putting in 100% into your day job, why not allocate 80 and use that 20% towards your new career path? And lastly, be flexible. As I was preparing to make the transition from corporate to starting my own coaching practice, I unexpectedly got laid off. And I know this sounds weird, but I felt like my internal GPS was nudging me to buy a plane ticket instead of trying to reformulate a new plan locally. And as soon as I did this, my visualization of my ideal career started to come to life. And I felt like it was the integral step that I needed to make it happen. I ended up location independent, living in Bali, the warm, exotic island that I was dreaming about, and having a sustainable coaching practice and teaching workshops. So everything that I had planned was coming together in a really unexpected way. And I just needed to be flexible. So remember that we always have choices. And it's never too late. It's never too far out of reach. Walt Disney was a newspaper editor until he was fired for not being creative enough and not having enough imagination. And Ellen DeGeneres, she used to be an oyster shucker before she became one of the greatest entertainers of all time. And Julia Child, she used to be a spy. She used to work for the CIA until her late 30s and searched around for a couple of years until she found her second calling in the kitchen. So what would the world be like without their contributions? And imagine what the world would be like with the contributions that you're destined to make.